Welcome to basically what I've been doing the entire last week. So, Sushi Cat is definitely a series. It started off as one of the million Armor Games properties that blew up and became a, well, not really long-lasting series, but a series nonetheless. 6 games, varying insanely in quality, not only from one to another, but also within themselves. A series that was one of the most consistent Flash game series ever turned into whatever this is. This will be an interesting one. Let's get started. We begin with Sushi Cat 1. The concept is extremely simple. Drop a cat through what is basically a pachinko machine and collect sushi. This game is whack. The extremely jello-y physics make it impossible to predict pretty much anything. Why, as a casual experience, this is totally fine. For speedrunning, you need to learn this game really well to be able to get a semi-decent time out of it. Out of the entire series, this is the one game I have spent the most time into speedrunning it, and after way too much time, I was only able to get 4th place out of, 22 people? But man, I'm just gonna take a moment to complain about how awful this game is to speedrun. The first 5 levels are insanely hard to pass because whether or not you lose time in them is completely RNG. The Maneki Nekos can either double your score, give you an extra cat. Obviously the extra cat loses time, so you want double score. Good luck getting 8 50-50 chances in a row. Level 5 is so hard to predict so that most of your runs just die. If they make it to level 5, they just don't continue. And if you get a good pace past it, it's not home free yet. I've lost about 5 runs to level 13 alone, and 1 to level 15. The amount of patience you need to be able to speedrun this game is insane. Huge props to anyone willing to speedrun this and get a decent time on it, because it was rough for me to just get 4th. Anyway, the actual game now. The first 5 levels are fine, very RNG based, but fine.
The power-ups are neat ideas. The first one, most of the time, gets you an extra cat, which sucks for speedrunning, but it makes the early levels easier for newcomers, so it's fine. The power-up in the second level is pretty basic and not RNG. It's okay. The Dragon Cannon is also a cool idea, but it's placed pretty badly and isn't useful in some of the levels it's in.
The second set is the best one, no RNG. Most levels are pretty simple but require some strategy. I dig this. The Carnival is serviceable too. The level design is interesting, the concepts are fun, the digestion level, as I call it, is a cool idea. The music, for specifically the Carnival, is my favorite track of the game. Speaking of, 3 of the 4 tracks are just Kevin MacLeod songs. The title screen is the most obvious one. The first 2 are tracks that I haven't heard before, so props to that. Cartoon Battle in the second area is my favorite of them. The Carnival theme is the only non-Kevin MacLeod song used in DJ Cutman's Run to Japan. It gives a very energetic feel to the final levels, and also fits them pretty damn well. Good music choice overall, even though 3 of the 4 songs are royalty-free Kevin MacLeod. Anyway, that's about it for this game. Just the plot left, which is pretty cute. The win 1 yen part is funny, and the game overall has a lot of personality, which is honestly why it blew up in the first place, probably. All in all, just nice game. For a Flash game from 2010, it's all it needs to be. The gameplay is pretty unique because of the physics, the visuals are neat, it has personality, it's funny, be it intentionally or unintentionally, it's just everything that a Flash game needs to be. So, where do we go from here? Well, now that we have a successful first game with a formula that can be expanded upon to form a long series of games, what do? The exact same thing again. Sushi Cat The Honeymoon, released only a few months after Sushi Cat 1. For all intents and purposes, this is just Sushi Cat 1 again. The music and graphics are the same, exceptions being the level backgrounds. The gameplay is the same, the only difference is the plot and the level design. The plot is pretty funny, definitely more fleshed out than the first game, so to speak. It's still just nonsense, but whatever. Now, the levels. Speaking of the levels, why are there only 12? The first game has 15, this one has 12 for some reason. Weird. The level design is more inspired than the first game. The first game shows it is the first one in the series. Armor Games didn't really figure out how to make cool and creative levels, so they made extremely basic stuff that works for what the first game is. It's definitely the weakest level design in the series. but I'll give them a pass because it was the first game. This one has some cooler ideas and overall just is more fun. The insanely RNG-based levels in the first game are gone, but there's still some oddballs here and there.
The tongue lick, let's go. Oh, wait, the bridge go. The power-ups are fun. The tongue lick is simple but effective. The yarn ball is the best one in the game. It's not completely RNG, and go figure, fun to speedrun. The one that just boosts you to the top of the screen sucks, and that's all of them. Period.
The first 2/3 are wonderful. The last third is where stuff actually gets interesting. The volcano has some questionable level design. We got a carbon copy of level 7 from Sushi Cat 1, the worst level in the game, at least for speedrunning, weirdly difficult, and carbon copy of level 12 from Sushi Cat 1. It's clear that they kind of ran out of ideas later into the game, might also be the reason there's only 12 levels. Honestly, I don't really mind there being 12 levels. The game is an extremely faithful sequel to the first game, with the only thing that really makes it a separate thing being the overall vibe and level design. Honestly, I actually prefer it to the original. It's more concise, less RNG, and more fun. Honestly, I don't know how I've managed to talk so much about Sushi Cat The Honeymoon out of all things. It easily has the least to say about it. Oh well, go figure. So, these two games were pretty much the same. How about making a full-on sequel to the first game? Honeymoon was really just an extension of it, so how about something new? Well, in early 2011, Armor Games did just that. So Sushi Cat 2. This is half a revolution, in the sense that everything is the same but also different. So let's start with the new stuff. Well, they actually made music instead of using royalty-free Kevin MacLeod. That's pretty good. Solid tunes, and they fit the game and the overall series well. The art style has been changed and it looks really nice. The game is over twice as long as Honeymoon at 25 levels.
The new power-ups are creative. The supermarket spree is absolutely busted to the point that Dan managed to completely clear the screen levels 2, 3, and 4 with it. Here's the footage of Dan doing it in level 2. The pinball one is creative, but only useful in specific situations. The bombs and Dragon Punch aren't bad, but not exactly good either. The wheel in the final 5 levels is a cool idea, but it's the slowest thing ever. It's solely because of lag, because if the game window is made smaller, it spins faster, so that's odd.
The golden sushis are a fun mechanic and add an actual sense of completion to each level and add the possibility to 100% the game. The plot is not better than Honeymoon's plot, but that doesn't matter really. It's a flash game, so nobody cares. It's only really a bonus if it's good. This one is nice. Serviceable and adds personality, so woohoo. The gameplay, other than the golden sushi and the power-ups, is the same, and that's a good thing. This is by far the hardest Sushi Cat game. Levels 21 and 24 are the hardest of the bunch, with 24 being, to me, the hardest level in the entire franchise. Either way you spin it, this game is a big improvement on the first game. It can be very unfun at times with some really stupid levels, but it's not enough to bring the game down. It's not my favorite of the franchise, but I definitely respect it. Wow, I can't believe I've said way more about Honeymoon. Whatever, this one's the best so far. It has some lows that are extremely apparent, but overall, it balances them out. Okay, that was fun. Now, these 3 games make a pretty good trilogy. Most series stop at either 3 games or 5. I think it makes the most sense to stop here. Another 2 games of this would get old, and the 3 we have are good. Sushi Cat 2, The Great Parade. This is easily my favorite of the series. It's a direct sequel to Sushi Cat 2, and I don't know why, but I like it more. The music is the same as Sushi Cat 2, the game is brighter colored, and the level designs and power-ups are different. The plot is there too, but it's the same quality as the second one, so nobody cares. It's nice, I guess. There's a lot of costumes for the Golden Sushi. There were like 8 in Sushi Cat 2. There's, I'm pretty sure, over 20 in this one, which to me is a good thing. I think the reason I like this one the most is because of the level design. It's the most fun in the series to me. This game is just a blast from start to finish. Levels 17 and 19 are harder than the rest, but not as big of a difficulty spike as 24 in Sushi Cat 2, so I'll let it slide. Oh yeah, and this one only has 20 levels. We went from 15 to 12 to 25 to 20. Why do no 2 games in this series have the same amount of levels? Anyway, I'm getting off track. I'll give Object time to speak now.
Cat is funny. I like it. Speaking of the power-ups, the more so mini-games of this one. One of them is just whack-a-mole. The balloon one, a cool idea, but it's too easy to get everything on screen because of how many balloons there are, ... The quiz one is funny because of how easy it is, and that's every power-up. All but one are tinier games shoved into this one. Perfect.
I would say that they break the pace, but the entire franchise is super slow-paced, so having minigame power-ups is totally fine. Yeah, I just like this game. I probably shouldn't have a reason as to why I like it more other than personal preference, but hey, what can you do? Okay, now we should be done. 4 games, all at the very least good. What's next? Sushi Cat 3? Okay, now we have to be done. Right? Sushi Cat 5 Catapult. First of all, this wasn't made by the same dev that made the first 4, this was made by Massive Monster. And yeah, it shows. What the fuck is this? Okay, I get it. Making a 5th game like the other 4 would have been stale. Great. Don't make it! This is a weird high-score catapult game where you try to go as far as possible. Why? I don't get it. This game can suck the dirtiest part of my ass. This was easily the most frustrating speedrunning experience I've had with this franchise. The amount of runs would make it both past both Sashimi Gardens and Akami Beach in 4 minutes and then die to Tokyo is insane. This game's so bad. There's times where you just die out of nowhere to a stupid crane that you definitely could have avoided, but the game just decides you could have not and kills you. It's incredibly easy if you're playing it slowly. It can probably be beaten with 1 click per level if you're lucky enough. It's supposed to feel like a dopamine rush, but it's just anxiety, the game, if you're speedrunning, that is. The concept itself is fine for an arcade-esque game, and to be fair, the other 4 were also good for arcade, but my god, this one is just such a whiplash after the other 4. My opinion of it is definitely tainted by my awful speedrunning experience with it. If you're curious of my time, I got a 10-12. All of my runs are at speedrun.com if someone wants to watch them. Anyway, this game is piss easy unless you speedrun, then it's a nightmare. This came out 3 years after Great Parade. That's twice as big as the gap between the first game to Great Parade, which as far as I know is around a year and a half. You could have very well left this series alone, but you didn't, and you fucked it up. Good job. This game's solid, sure, it's playable, quite fun casually, but quality-wise it's just not up to par, I'm sorry. They changed the art style again for some reason, and no, this isn't a case of the devs at Massive Monster not knowing how to replicate the art style of Sushi Cat 2. Jimp is the guy, I'm assuming, and it may be multiple people, I don't know, made the art for all of these 5 games. Why'd you change it now? It looks like a bootleg of the other 4. Good job. I don't like this game. It's not bad by any means, but not bad enough to the point where it ruins the entire everything else. Hell, it can even stand alongside the other 4. I just hate it for personal reasons. Anyway, now we're definitely done. 5 games, 1 completely different from the other 4, making another game like a 5th would just be stupid. The concept has already been made into a full game, the game itself is as deep as a dinner plate, but whatever. You tried something new, good for you, please end this damn series already. Oh god damn it! Sushi Cat 6 Storycraft World Creator. This game is an endless loading screen. It is clarified by Armor Games that this is an April Fool's joke. Okay, that's kind of funny. I'll give them that. Good job. You made a stupid April Fool's game and kept the series ending with Catapult. Good job. And those are all the games. There was also a port of the first game in Honeymoon on mobile all the way back in 2010, but it's a direct port, nothing different, so nobody cares. It's also gone from the App Store, so that's unfortunate. This series is interesting because it's clear Armor Games had no idea what to do with this series past 2011. 2010 had Sushi Cat 1 and Honeymoon, 2011 had Sushi Cat 2 and Great Parade. These are perfect. Sometimes it's nice when a franchise doesn't deviate from the formula too much. 4 games, however, was more than enough to just end the franchise there, and it seems Armor Games understood that, until 2014 when they made Catapult, which is a really stupid decision, but at least it didn't ruin the series and was at least competently put together. It's not objectively bad, and then they made the April Fool's joke. I think if Flash lived for longer, they would have kept releasing random stuff like Catapult and the April Fool's joke. I'm happy they stopped at Catapult though. If they would have continued, it probably wouldn't have ended well. Little me loved these things. I played the first 4 to oblivion. I knew of Catapult's existence, but I was too dumb to figure out how it worked at the time. I'm happy I got to make a video on this series because, well, it's always been pretty special to me. That's really all. Thanks for watching.
Goodbye.